great thing, but the technological advance of the world has gotten to the point where this particular great thing can be done. And most of these great advances have been made by free people. And really, it's a question of where's the greatest freedom to do this. The American people are now involved in a tremendous debate about whether they will become a socialist country or move back to be a free country. And it's possible that they will throw off socialism and move back toward freedom. If they do, this would be a fine place for these advances to take place. If they don't, if they continue down the socialist road which they've been going and which is accelerating, then America will not be a place where these advances can take place, but we hope that other places in the world will be more free, and they will.
Is there any other part of your work that you're very excited about that you'd like to share with audiences who are listening to the show?
Well, I know there are all sorts of details, but the molecular clocks and the work on metabolic profiling and quantitative measurement of health have been the things that have fascinated us the most. We also work on some issues that don't seem related, like homeschooling. And
I noticed you have a whole site on homeschooling.
Yeah, well, what happened was that when my wife died, we moved here to Oregon and set up our own research institute. We're happily going along. When she died, I had 6 small children, and she'd been homeschooling them. And, of course, we lost our teacher, and I didn't have time to. So over the years, the children and I worked out a very good method whereby homeschooled children can teach themselves without a teacher. And
that's another paradigm shift, isn't it?
And that has worked out remarkably well. And now the kids started a little business selling CDs with their system on it, and now they have 60,000 students.
That's amazing. Are they all from the U.S.?
Mostly. There's
wow.
some in foreign countries, mostly in the U.S., and the curriculum's only English, so it's English speakers abroad that use it if they do. Mostly U.S. and Canada. Our school systems have deteriorated badly in it, which is a tragedy. And about 2% of the kids in the United States now are homeschooled. But with this curriculum, it's not the only homeschool curriculum, of course, but it has special merit. And with it, you can, the 3 of my 6 children went through college in 2 years for their science degrees.
That's amazing.
Based on having done this, and they've done very well in graduate school as well. 3 of them are finished with graduate school.
And I hear one of them went to Caltech.
Yeah, Noah, the scientist I work with all the time. Noah and I work together all the time.
And he was homeschooled?
Oh, yes. He went through college in 2 years, and he got his PhD at Caltech in 3.
See, I have to tell you that this is me speaking. I'm not speaking for anybody, but I've grown up with a lot of prejudice and ignorance about homeschooling.
Uh-huh.
And I grew up thinking of it as fringe. And I'm just being honest with you. I hope you're not insulted, but I grew up with the perception of it being fringe, not realistic. I'm just telling you, and not good for the children because they don't have access to being socialized and dealing with conflicts and resolving things with other kids. And I had a lot of beliefs about it, and I've just recently become open to that whole arena. And even maybe would like to do a separate show on it. I really think it deserves its own.
Well, perhaps that'd be fine.
Its own focus, but I thought it would be interesting for you to share.
Some of these images are quite false. Just because you're homeschooled doesn't mean you're not around other children. The idea of socialization was really a sort of a red herring directed against homeschooling. And then, of course, the homeschoolers would say that the socialization they do have in the bosom of their own families is perhaps superior to what we offer in the public schools today.
Yeah, I'm just sharing with you my prejudices because I'm sure that there's people out there, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I recognized that I have it,
The academics is overwhelming. It's amazing. These studies have been done over and over and over. Where on standardized tests in math and all of the other subjects, results are about the same, where the performance of the public school students is 50 percentile by definition. White students in the United States are at about 57 percentile, and black and Spanish American students are at about 25 percentile.
Is that in recent statistics?
Those are recent statistics. But in homeschooling, it's different. The average performance based on the same scale is 80 percentile for all three races. There's no difference.
That's stupefying.
I have a lot of black homeschooling mothers that call me, and these are tough ladies. I think they may be better than the average, but you see this tremendous difference. Academic performance is much greater among the homeschoolers, and the differences we see, the racial differences we see, which have been partially tearing our country apart, are just not there. In fact, if the situation was reversed, homeschooling would, of course, be outlawed as child abuse.
I hear what you're saying.
So
it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's an important movement, I think. Only 2% of the children are homeschooled now. They're having no trouble getting into universities because universities are beginning to see that they generally have, on average, better academic performance.
Was there ever a time?
Family, it's been a wonderful blessing. The children have done very well.
Was there ever a time when it was very difficult when a child was homeschooled to get into high school or college?
I don't know. It's certainly not during our time. May have been. Well, of course, if you go back, we started homeschooling in the mid-1970s. And before that, and sort of ending at that time, there were there were quite a few parents who went to jail for doing this, because there was a whole period of time in which it had to become legal to school your children, and these battles were fought out state by state.
Is it legal? Is it legal?
It's harder to get into college because in many cases it was illegal to do.
Is it legal now in all 52 states?
Yes. There are occasional little efforts by the public school people to make it illegal again, but they never get anywhere. There was an effort a couple of years ago in California, but it failed. It's legal everywhere, and it's very rare. I notice on the internet, on a site that looks for things that would irritate conservatives, they occasionally have some family that is being suppressed from homeschooling, but if you read the article, it's usually in Germany. It's not in the United States. So really, it's legal everywhere. Parents sometimes get into trouble with local authorities because, as people, we're troublesome, and sometimes we get in arguments, but mostly it's legal throughout the country.
Did you write any books about this?
What'd you say?
Did you write a book about homeschooling?
No, I wrote a small book which is on our curriculum about how to do it.
Where is it? What website is it on?
Well, that's not there. It's in the curriculum.
Okay.
If you want, I'll send you a curriculum. You can read it.
Well, just for audiences, if you want anybody to order
we have a website, RobinsonCurriculum.com. It's actually not ours. It's a friend that runs the website, and he sells the curriculum, and it has a lot of information about it.
It's called Robinson Curriculum?
RobinsonCurriculum.com.
.com.
And I'm not, of course, I think this is a wonderful curriculum, and a lot of people use it, but I'm not implying that we are the homeschool movement.
I hear you. No, I understand. And what about for molecular clocks for aging? Is there anything written or on metabolites?
We wrote a book on that. Robinson Molecular Clocks, and it's the standard reference text in this field.
Is it mostly for scientists?
On Amazon.com, Robinson and Robinson Molecular Clocks, or you can go to this is a big word, deamidation.org on the internet. I'll spell it, and there you can see the book for nothing if you want. It's completely readable there. Deamidation, deamidation, deamidation.org.
What does that mean?
Deamidation is the chemical reaction involved in the molecular clock.
Does one have to be a scientist to understand it?
If you read the molecular clocks book, you would get the general idea and probably understand about 25% of the book if you had no scientific training.
How about that PDF that you sent me called Revolutionizing 21st Century?
That's for the general public. That's